Amen.
I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, June the 19th, 1941. During those years, it was a horrible, horrible time for black people in the South. With the Jim Crow laws, things that we could not do, say, for instance, drink out of a water fountain, go to the bathroom, everything was black and white. Couldn't go to the library. You could just stand there and look up at the library. You couldn't go inside. So after I got a little bit older, I stay in the library because I'm able to go there now. The children in the schools, I encourage all the children to try to get a better education, go to school and try to do some of the things that's right. But in 1965, my parents got us together to help with the civil rights struggle, to hear Dr. Martin Luther King talk. He always told us about the Jim Crow laws, whereas you couldn't walk down the street and look a white person in the eye. If you walk down the street and they facing you coming up, you had to step to the sidewalk and let them pass by. Some of the same thing that is happening today that happened back there in 1965. It's just undercover and hid, and we as people fail to realize these things are happening. But it was my mission, after my father got us together, to go down and help register people to vote. We went to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference that was headed by Dr. Martin Luther King. And we went there to register people to vote. Young kids got out of school to help in this struggle. But before then, I'm gonna tell you a few things. We could not go into a store in Birmingham, Alabama, and try on shoes. We could not put our feet on the inside of a shoe. They always put a shoestring on the floor. You put your foot on the string, and whatever size that shoestring was, that was the size you wore. It was never measured by the length. It was measured by the length, but never the width. A lot of people wore shoes too tight for their feet. It was said that's the reason they have bad feet today. And that is true, because I can say I'm one of the persons. Another thing, going into department stores, you could not try on clothes. You could not put no clothes on. They go in, you go in the store, they standing. It was like on Saturday nights, they would put all the clothes up in the window. Sunday was window shopping day for us. I don't know whether y'all know anything about window shopping. You had to go on Sunday evening after church and go window shopping. And come back Monday morning. They put dresses in the window, shirts, pants. You look in the window, and they had some kind of idea what you was looking for. So they see you standing by the sales lady, see you standing by the window. They come to the door and tell you to come in. You say, I want that dress right there. When she go and get the dress for you and show it to you, hold it up, show it to you. They take a tape measure and put it around your waist to see what size you wore. Mind you, you could not take these clothes back. Whatever you took out of there, you had to keep it, because it was not taking anything back from you. But in 1963, we had heard about a man coming to town. His name was Dr. Martin Luther King, civil rights struggle. So me and my family went down to see what he was talking about and what he was saying. He was talking about all the Jim Crow laws, how we could help, if we band together, how we could help change it. So my father said, well, we'll give it a shot. We'll go down and see what's going on. Loaded all of us up in the car. Mind you, my father never voted. His mother never voted. Reason being, she had an illegitimate child, and that was him. My father never voted because in 1965, he died before the bill was passed. The bill was passed August the 6th, 1965. He died February the 9th, 1965. So he helped register a lot of people to vote, but he never had a chance to vote. And I thank my father today for engaging himself into this voting rights struggle. We went down, we listened to what Dr. King said. He told us, say, some people in here, you might even lose your life. You might get killed, you might get hurt. But if you're willing to take this chance, join us in the civil rights struggle. So I went down the aisle, signed my name on a sheet of paper, and willing to go. He said, you're going to jail. If you go to jail, we don't have no money to get you out. I still signed my name on it, knowing that they didn't have anything to get us out with. So he said, we will have to send up north to the Northerners, and they will help pay your bail and get you out of jail. So next morning, after we left, we went back to Kelly Ingram Park to try to march around. I went to jail marching. I went to jail in Bohemian Bakery. And they still told me, say, I don't have any money to get you out. Police came, paddy wagon came, loaded us up and took us to jail. Some youngsters was young enough to go to the county building. They took us to the county. Some was old, young enough to go to juvenile court. They took them down to the juvenile fairgrounds. They filled all those places up with children. We had teams out. My father gathered young men and men up in the community that didn't want to go to jail to help get food and to bring to the fairgrounds. They threw it over the fence because they couldn't go in the gate. The kids caught it and they ate it. So when I went to jail, I stayed in jail 95 days. I was willing to go. In the 5 days, I didn't eat any food, simply because the inmates was on one side. They called us the agitators. We were on the other side. Everybody got their food. So when they got their food, the police officer stood up on top of the table. The inmates was eating. The agitators, as we were called, was on this side. He said, you cannot eat in Birmingham jail. Go back to your cells. So we went back to our cells and didn't have anything to eat for the 5 days. When you signed up for 5 days, that's how many days you stayed in there. Couldn't nobody get you out because you stayed in that 5 days. And during them 5 days, if I had to do that all over again, I would do it all over again. After getting out of jail, I was so weak, I couldn't hardly walk, so they took us over to H.E. Gasson Motel, fed us, we ate. And I still didn't have enough. Got up the next morning, went down to Kelly Ingram Park, where we were still demonstrating, marching. A lot of young school children walked out of school. Some of their parents didn't know where he was. He left school. Got down to Kelly Ingram Park. Mind you, Bull Connor had seen me from before I went to jail, days before I went to jail. So I believe I was target. And he ordered the fire department to put the water hose on us. The water hose was so powerful today, I'm deaf in my right ear. And the two young men that came, I don't know those men, young boys, I don't know them. They came and shielded me because when the water hose came, it just pushed me into the building. And I stayed there until they left and started targeting other people. They brought the dogs out on us. Some people got bit, some got drugged, some got stepped on, but he was determined. This is Birmingham, Alabama, and we don't tolerate the vet from using the N-word. And when he shook us down with the water hose, that's all he did. He rode around in a tank. And he said, put the water hose on those ends so they wouldn't have to take a bath. And that's what he did. But as I tell you, a lot of people have died and struggled for us to vote. And we need to continue to register to vote.